Okay, welcome everybody to our a breakthrough webinar, I must say, for a proposed joint rating platform. And we have our speakers, um, our old Vice Chairman of ACRAA,
Young at heart, Santi.
Fahim,
Young at heart. Old but young at heart.
And we have also Mr. Thomas Misong, President of European Asia, European Association of Credit Rating Agencies. I will not take much more of your time because we have so much to listen to and react to. So may I introduce the first speaker, Mr. Fahim Ahmad. And you have his short bio data there, but you know, he's most important because he is one of the regional founders of the Association of Credit Rating Agencies in Asia. He has set up two credit rating agencies in Pakistan and in Bahrain, and is very active in credit rating activities in the Middle East, and has in fact been very active also in China, doing joint projects with some of our colleagues. So, Mr. Fahim Ahmad, take the floor, please, and make your presentation.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I think Brother Rafi has also joined if he's listening to me because in the UK. Well, this rating platform concept, if you recall, in last year, in October, I had a presentation on next 5 years of ACRAA. As Santi has introduced, and so many of you know me, I have been the founder, and whatever endeavors I have done over these 21 years now, 20 years, is to keep aligned my work for ACRAA, aligned with the goals of ACRAA. I hope many of you have seen the purpose and the articles. The main clauses, the goal and the vision of ACRAA is if you concentrate on these few words, the buzzwords, exchange of ideas, information, knowledge, providing reliable market information. For me, this is the most important part of ACRAA, and that is what we have been doing over last, at least personally, I have been pursuing this with Santi. Santi has been a very keen enthusiast, and he keeps pushing me to the limits to do out of the world things and, out of box thinking. And then second clause was comparability of credit ratings. It's very unfortunate that we DCRAs, nobody, we have not been given a portal or a platform where our ratings could be seen. For example, S&P and Moody's, their ratings are comparable even with the Basel document. They name them. And so I thought that, and when we migrated into an international rating agency with Islamic in Bahrain, this was the biggest impediment there, where we did not have anywhere to compare our, and still people ask us. And the third one was to have a cross-border investment, promote and to give information or activities aimed at promoting cross-border. So I think the comparability of ratings, like the DCRAs, like in India, if you go, there are 7, Bangladesh 6, 7, Pakistan 2. There is no platform where you can compare. You have to go into individual, and then you have to search and have some kind of import the data, and it's a very, very tedious work. So my goal since the beginning, and our ACRAA's directors and all the founder members were looking at this very keenly. For example, I will give you that how we did this, the information, for example. Many of you would not know that in the early years, in early 2000, the turn of the century, we had a dedicated page on ACRAA's website for disseminating ratings. But what happened to it? Unfortunately, because at that time also, India had lot of ratings coming out in 2004, 2005, 2006. So our page got overwhelmed with India-centric information. VIS was there, Philippine was there, TRIS was there. So, I mean, all the information was coming in, but it was overwhelming with Indian ratings. So, we thought that it was so speedily changing, we had to update it very quickly, the information. So, most of the information got lost. So, that was, again, if I go back, look at the dissemination of the information, the second clause. So we did that. The knowledge base, you all know we had seminars and the very high quality publication, which I'll just give you the example. So we kept pursuing the goals of ACRAA, and personally myself, because I hold an office also since very beginning, somewhere I get involved with the management and the board. So the next one was that look at the ACRAA publication. Most of you, the analysts, should go and look at this, because we put the basics of ratings, very handy, a manual which was published in 2011. So the information dissemination, early web pages, the knowledge base, we endeavor to put up, look at the topics, the definition of default. The default actually came in with the Basel II. We were created, our founders created ACRAA before the advent of Basel II. So we never had definitions. We were just struggling among ourselves, and it was a very good bunch of colleagues who I don't have right now at this age. Only Santi and maybe Mr. Masooda, I can name a few, Mr. Muzaffar, God give him good health. So we are there to grapple with the situation and to keep up with the knowledge base, and so to keep this going. Now look at these unsolicited ratings, conflict of interest. So this was a very good publication. I urge again all the analysts through the platform of ACRAA, please go through these publications. Now, comparability of ratings. Every analyst, every DCRA, CRO, CFO analyst know the biggest dilemma is that everything is compared, even Basel compares and gives guidelines on the international ratings, not national scale ratings. The DCRAs are a dilemma because nobody, the GCRAs, the global rating agencies, don't even publish where they operate locally for their default studies in the local context. So we even don't know if, for example, Fitch is operating in Indonesia, India, and in Europe, or somewhere, they don't even give the local default rates. They only publish the international, where the TNC, the transfer and convertibility is capped for the sovereign. So we don't know the working and the quality of that. So that is why I personally, with Santi, planned this in 2011 to have some kind of an innovation or out-of-box thinking to compare our DCRA's rating across countries. For example, this page. And this is again available on our website. So look at the advanced thinking. We were pursuing the goals, and then we also lost steam maybe because ADB did not support us on this studies. And at that time, Can you go back 10 years and look at the websites where you did not have the default studies, even published by the best rating agencies in Asia? I'm talking about India, ourselves. Because of this study, we started publications, publishing our default studies. Bangladesh was doing, then we asked Bangladesh to do it. And then, India started, Philippines started, Korea started. So, this is one comparability of ratings on the national scale, sans TNC. For example, if I'm sitting in Korea and we have our triple B rating, and I want to invest in India, for example, so the Korean rating of triple B, which I'm used to in Seoul, the India at that time, I'm not talking right now, in 2012, the India generally would be in a range of A plus. Pakistan would be range in AA minus. Malaysia the same. So this kind of a table was created among 7 to 8 rating agencies. There is some over voice. Okay, so now this kind of a table, it would be very easy for us now because most of the DCRAs publish their default studies. So now, what is required to pursue the goal? We should have a platform where we should have knowledge, research. Then we should have comparability of ratings. And then the dissemination of the information by DCRAs themselves, so that the investors can look into our work, our quality of work. So this is where last year also I emphasized, and then with Santi's help and his persuasion, and then I got in contact with Thomas in Europe. So we started pursuing this goal, one-stop window. One window operation where we have all the 3 attributes which I have shown you, to gather all the DCRAs and use the new technology so that we can have this analysis on the go. So now, the DCR, this famous table from Basel. These are all monitoring level. The CDRs are all historic based, but for international ratings, nothing for DCRS. So no GCRAs, the 3 of them or the 4 of them don't even publish, don't even care of the DCRA, whether they have the affiliates or not. It's very sad that maybe S&P, Moody's have so many affiliates, but they don't bother, they don't force them unless until a regulatory requirement. But now I think in this year, the last few years, regulators have started demanding. So now what should be the attribute of this platform? I will just go quickly because we don't have time. I will give way to Thomas, but these are what I have observed while going into the international business. We don't have a platform for DCRAs. Unlike GCRAs like Reuters and Bloomberg to cover our news, we are the newsmakers. You see, I used to publish a newspaper in Pakistan with 100,000 circulation every month. And we are newsmakers. Look at Reuters and Bloomberg getting the information from the source and disseminating it. So we should have our own platform to disseminate our own news. So we should not have a newspaper of our own, or we should not rely on Reuters and Bloomberg, but we could give them a news feed from our platform. And that is why we don't have a visibility for our research. Look at the research coming out of our DCRS for the local context, for the countries. The cross-border investors must be looking and searching, but they have to go into the individual websites. The other, what at least I can say for myself, our affiliates, we don't have any extra service fee we earn from maybe from our industry sector reports. We have very comprehensive, I've seen, look at Turkey maybe, or Korea and, TRIS. So I just have few names here, ourselves. So industry reports are very unique. very informative, and then specialized training, seminar, events, which we are trying to do on our ACRA, but on the individual basis, we can promote our jurisdictions. So this is where we can have an extra fee. Now, by the way, meaningful analysis on ratings is absent from Reuters and Bloomberg. If I want to do something cross-border, cross-checking or analysis on S&P and Moody's or Fitch, I may not be able to do it very readily. So on-the-go analysis is very possible now with the new technology, provided you should have a very able software engineers and a team who understand the rating business, so they can do it for us very readily. So what should be the way forward? It is to create demand among investors for such a service. And imagine Asia, South America, Europe has a huge demand for this. So we have to create this demand, and we should have a very good one gate, one portal for this. Then again, knowledge and skill among members. We have been trying to do this on our ACRA platform. We keep doing it, but data in analytics. If we have a portal and if we have data available, this will, other than the visibility for DCRAs, this will give us mapping across jurisdictions, which will increase investors' attention. I just said that. Then we can influence the regulators for the harmonization of regulations. I work in 16 jurisdictions. It is so difficult. Some regulators do something, they don't have the ready information available to them. So this platform should give the regulations so that they can compare, their teams can compare readily, because they are shy getting into Pakistan, India. India is one of the best examples because they keep, I keep looking at Indian regulations because they have the biggest rating universe after USA. So I think, India is one of the best examples. Like in Pakistan also, we keep endeavoring to keep changing the they are very interactive. So I think the regulations should be readily accessible, and then webinars for general public, because ACRA endeavors right now as our platform for the ACRA members. But this platform, like Fitch, Moody's, if you go there, they are engaged in they charge 2,500 for 2 days skill improvement. Why shouldn't we improve our skill sets of our DCRAs, which is in some of the cases I've seen, because I work in so many jurisdictions, I look at the analysts, the top guys, they don't have a queue on the international rating experience. Unless and until we have experience international ratings, we will never be able to come up to the expectations and to do some cross-border ratings in the future, if need be, if we want to migrate into the next phase. So these were my initial thoughts. I have discussed this last year also, but I'm more focused now. For the last 6 months, I've been working with Thomas and a team of our software engineers to reach this attribute, and maybe they will give you a demo so you will be able to understand more and appreciate more. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fahim. I think let us listen to Thomas first, then before we open to question and answer.
Santi, then there will be a short demo of the platform also.
Okay, good. Very good. So
that is how we have.
Is that all right with you? Is that all right with you? We'll listen to Thomas first, next. So I think Thomas has to be introduced to our ACRA members, especially the young ones. He is the founder and managing director of Rating Platform, and is president of the European Association of Credit Rating Agencies since 2011. We've had some joint projects with ACRAA, two times the ACRAA board went to join ICRA, first in Madrid, Spain, and then in Vienna, Austria, for joint meetings. And we would have pushed for more meetings and perhaps joint training projects, but this pandemic has caught up with us. But still, we continue to work with our European counterparts, and Thomas is very much in the forefront of that. And on our side, of course, is Mr. Fahim Ahmad. So let's listen to Thomas. Mr. Misong, please take over.
Perfect. So as I heard that some people might be leaving soon, I will try to be as concise as possible for this presentation. I could spend hours and days on this topic. But just briefly, I want to introduce you to the concept, the purpose, and the vision of the platform, following up on what Fahim just has said. I want to give you some background on the history and where we think how we're going to develop the platform over time, and just briefly also about the governance and the business model of the platform. If I share it like this, you also see it?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. So the concept of rating agencies is obviously very clear to you. I don't need to explain it for long. So rating agencies assign ratings to issuers in the domestic countries usually, and local users are very familiar with these agencies. But if you go beyond the local market, if you look at a global market, quite often the users are not familiar with the specific CRAs, and I don't know what the rating assigned actually means. Is it a local rating or international one? What is being rated? Is it probability of default or loss given default? There are a lot of different scales being used, and that's where the platform will be coming in, providing explanations to the users with the target that investors can make their own assessment. So the concept here is compliant with the goals of the Financial Stability Board, but also of Basel III, to reduce your reliance on rating agencies and to make their own assessments. You know, obviously, there are more than 100 rating agencies over the world, quite a lot of them in Asia, as you know, but 26 now already in the European Union, and quite a lot of them also in Latin America. And our target is really to get them on board, to have a global gate to ratings, one access point to ratings on a global level, with the purpose to foster transparency and understanding for the users of the different ratings, and for explaining the meanings of those ratings. So that is the first step. The next step is to add value and to deliver higher benefits to the stakeholders. So we will have a lot of rating agencies submitting information to the rating platform. On the platform, we will have several tools which will explain to the users what those different ratings actually mean. And in addition, we are planning to get on board additional sources so that there are more reference points available to the users. To give you an example on the mapping, as Fahim has just mentioned, across Asia, we have a mapping here in Europe, which was established by the European supervisory authorities. This is the current valid one, which is only an extract because we have 26 agencies registered and 4 certified. I selected these agencies to show you a few points. The first is, if you look at Servet Rating Agency, they are using a very peculiar rating scale. This is an agency located in Italy. So Italian users are very familiar with these ratings, but otherwise no one really knows what those ratings mean. What is also interesting, on top here you see the capital requirements regulation. They use 6 steps, 6 credit quality steps, and Solvency II, which is applicable to insurance companies, they use 7 steps from 0 to 6. And for instance, not the rating scales, which are meant to cover the whole probabilities of default from 0 to 100%, are not reflected as such in the mapping of in the EU. So, for instance, one example is the German agency called the GBB. They have the A rating mapped one category lower than the other agencies. Or if you take the agency in Greece, ECAP, they don't have any symbol in the highest credit quality step. And this actually is not very familiar to a lot of users. And this page here, to find this information on one spot, is actually extremely difficult in Europe. But it is important because these mappings, they drive the capital requirements of banks or insurance companies. So one target for us is already to present these mappings to make them clear to users. If I go to India, as it was mentioned by Fahim, I think that India has a very developed regulatory framework for rating agencies, quite an extensive one. So, and which started much earlier than in Europe, the regulation there. And they have defined also some benchmarks or default benchmarks. I have here only shown the 3 years statistics for the long run, long-term ratings. It has equally defined for 1 year and 2 years, which is going well beyond the Basel and also the European Union. You see here the benchmarks which were defined as a probability of default. And if you compare these to the Basel standard, you see this difference here. So the blue line is the Basel standard. I don't know why this red mark appeared here, I'm afraid. This is the Basel standard with the blue line, and next to it you have the Indian line. So while they're using the same symbols, a triple B rating in India implies a probability of default of up to 10.5%, whereas in Europe or on a global level, it would mean only 1%. So if we would use this as a mapping, we would be coming up with such type of an indicative mapping. A triple A rating in India would be somewhere in the triple B region or above, a double A in the double B region on a global level. Obviously, this is very indicative, and the target on the platform would be that working together with Indian rating agencies, we would be establishing such type of mapping. And this not only for India, but for every country. Obviously, we need to respect if rating agencies assign themselves international ratings, obviously those would be also displayed separately. And it is interesting, if you take the case of Brazil, there are 4 agencies operating there, and they map differently their national scale ratings to the international scale. So that would also be presented here. Moving ahead, just a brief historic background on the platform. We launched the platform already back in 2011, and some of you might be familiar with it. At the time, we started with 5 rating agencies and 3 export credit agencies at the time. We included export credit agencies to have also some additional sovereign assessments on the platform. as I think that these are valuable information. Now, at the same time, ESMA launched its central repository of ratings, which is a very powerful database to look up rating statistics. The drawback is that it relates exclusively to one agency, and you don't have any benchmarks. So that is one problem. And the second bigger problem actually is that it has not been updated for the last 3 years. So it is has lost much of attention. In parallel, new legislation came into force in Europe, which is called the ACRAA 3 regulation, which mandated ESMA to establish the European rating platform. And I'm very sincere to you. The European agencies took a wait-and-see approach, as they knew that the regulator would be publishing that website. It was delayed quite a lot until 2016. It was officially launched and then had quite a lot of technical problems, not displaying the ratings correctly, displaying only a share of them, and actually did not at all increase the visibility of smaller agencies, which was actually the purpose. So we switched to provide more research and regulatory updates. We provided some research mainly on the European market. We did some research on sovereign ratings, on sovereign calendars, and so on and so on. In last year, ESMA reported on the European rating platform and showed that basically the concept is of the platform that the platform should be handling rating information from several sources across business models and jurisdictions. So that is the concept right from the start. We are now, these are the first steps we foresee for the medium term. The relaunch is being done, has been done now already. We will show you briefly afterwards where we stand. We have, the next step is to expand the content to reach a truly global coverage, having agencies from Europe, from Asia, but also Latin America. To provide also regulatory information on the different countries so that users know what are the requirements on rating agencies, but also how ratings are being used in those countries, and provide a glossary of terms. We will be providing enhanced value with new tools and functionalities. We will provide topical gates, such as which will be discussed with CRAs. We could imagine having a special gate for Islamic finance or or maybe SMEs or stock-listed companies. So this is to be discussed. And we will be connecting also to social platforms which are getting a lot of attention. And based on this, we will have a full rollout of the website. And obviously, the more agencies participate on the platform, the higher the value to users, and the faster we can implement all this path. Just briefly, one of the main goals we achieved now is that the new website will be available on all platforms. So what you see currently when you go to rating platform is the old version. We are planning to publish a new version by early December. And it is going to be available on all platforms. More importantly, there will be some automatic updates, imports of ratings, which is a great feature because up to now they need to be included manually. And obviously, the other way around, we will have a lot of features which will allow you to download some information directly. The business model, obviously, we need to adapt to the business model of the rating agencies. Most of the agencies work under the issuer pays model, but some are working under the investor pays model, and we need to reflect this on the platform. So if an agency produces an investor pays rating and sell that rating cannot be publicly available on our platform. And depending on the business model and what type of information you will be sharing with us, we will define a different subscription fee. The goal is over time to increase the value to users by having one standardized agency profile. So if you look up rating agency websites, you will see that they are structured very differently. And sometimes it is, if you're not familiar with the agency, it might take you quite some time to find the relevant information. And that is one objective already, to have standardized information available. Obviously, core of the platform is to have ratings and rating reports on the website. The next step is to have research report by ACRAAs. Let's think about banking industry research or other type of research, which is, I think, highly interesting, but not on one gate available. So if you look at, let's say, banking industry, you could find over our platform, if you incorporate at once reports on India and other countries at once. And this will assist users to make their own assessments. Obviously, we want to produce also some research by ourselves in collaboration with you. And at the end, we will have user-specific tools where the user can himself decide what type of mapping he wants to use for his own assessment. And we will be implementing this over stages. So first, we want to have free access to everybody, so that everybody can see how powerful the website is currently, or will be. And we will be moving to registered users, moving some content to registered users. In the next step, to premium users who will be paying a small fee. Going forward to subscribers, and the last goal is to have data feeds, which is the most important for global investors. And this will generate a mix of revenue streams to rating platform. Briefly on the advisory board, we have foreseen. So the idea is that each CRA participating in the platform will have a representative on this advisory board. The board advises rating platform in all important dimensions. So obviously on the business model, on the IT tools we want to implement, on the definition of research reports we can do, but also on regulatory updates. And the goal would be that the decision making should be by consensus, so that we can then implement the solutions, the steps appropriately, and to deliver the best benefits. As a closing page, just briefly about benefits for the users of ratings. The first is the reduced search costs for users, so they don't need to look up 20, 50 websites, but they can find it at once. As mentioned already, the explanation of the meanings of the different ratings, introducing a mapping of ratings, allowing peer group analysis, and having some extensive research available. All of this will assist the users to make their own assessments on a specific credit. For the rating agencies, the benefit is to address a global audience, to participate in the advisory board. So it's not, we won't be an unguided missile, but you will know what will be happening and when. Preparing some joint research. We will have a central payment system, which will make it possible that we will be sharing revenues with the participating rating agencies. All of this leading to increased visibility beyond your local markets. Maybe one point which is important is that no rating agency will have exclusivity on its own market. Again, the purpose is that we have a global coverage. We have several countries where we have several agencies operating, and therefore no exclusivity on the platform. So thank you for your attention. I have included here two links to the central repository of the ESMA and of the European rating platform. Yeah, I will stop here, and many thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Thomas. It's quite comprehensive, and it takes a little time to absorb everything, I think.
I'll just share my screen. I'll just take 2 minutes to demo the website. I hope everyone can see right now.
Yes.
Okay, great. So our theme main focus was to keep it as simple as possible, so not to overload the user of the website. So as you can see, we've just divided into 3 different sections. The first section is anyone who's interested in the ratings, getting the data, and also to see different kind of rating agencies that are part of our platform. As of now, we are developing, I can just show you a sample page of a rating agency, how it will look. So if you go on a profile of any rating agency, it should look like this. And you will have, this is actual data that you are actually seeing right now. Some statistics of the rating agency, some company details, and also the ratings that they have posted. So they would be able to link to the rating platform through different methods and be able to post their ratings over here. The user will be able to, of course, see all these ratings and export to Excel. And if the need be, we are also developing a PDF form of this profile. So they can just download the PDF form and have a look at it in a summarized way. Something more for an addition to the user will have is, for example, rating definitions and scales, which are different for each rating agency. So for example, if you can see over here, there's a BBB- over here. So if the user would be able to hover their mouse over it, they would be able to see the definition right there and then. And that is specific to the rating agency itself. So BIS would have a different definition and another rating agency would have a different definition. The rating platform would accommodate for such definitions. Also in this kind of a tabular format, you would be able to change columns and export in the way that you would prefer, the user would prefer. For example, if your user would like to have a direct link to their to see more details about the rating, they can just click on one of the links and they would be able to go to the website of the credit rating agency to see more details. In addition to this, we have a center section which is dedicated to highlights, important highlights for the website. So it would be sovereign rating calendars, a new member joining, etc. And that would basically highlight them and put them on focus. And the third section you can see is dedicated to regulations. So if I just, for example, if I wanted to go and see the European Union regulations, I can just click on that and it will show you an updated version of what the current regulations are, any kind of details, the registered credit agencies. This is a rating platform will be responsible for populating this. So this is, I think, Thomas already showed you this table. This is the kind of mapping that you would be expecting, and further details. Of course, the main focus would be the ratings of different agencies all accumulated into one page. And that's what we're trying to do over here. You can filter by sector, you can filter by the country, and then of course you can search and it will just show you over here the different kinds of whatever you are trying to find, you will be able to find over here. So that's about it. That's what we are currently building right now. And inshallah, I think by December we should have a more structured format and something that's usable by the end user. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Faisal.
Thank you, Faisal. Now we shall open ourselves to questions and comments and answers. Farial, perhaps you can help me in moderating this question and answer.
Sure, Mr. Thank no problem.
Okay, would anybody?
First question.
Okay,
Can
go
I
ahead.
ask the first question? So
Go
I just
ahead.
want to understand. Thank you, Mr. Fahim, Mr. Masong. It was really interesting. I think it's a great idea. So I just want to understand, and maybe just for the rest of us participants, that would each rating agency apply to the rating platform that, okay, we want to be registered, or will you be reaching out to us that, okay, can you become a part of it? And how, and like all of these 100 agencies that you were showing that are domestic rating agencies, do you think that they will all come on board as well? Because of course the entire benefit of this website would be when you have the most amount of data showing up there, right? So is there any way of attracting rating agencies to come on board with us?
See, that is why I think we are using because our platform, our associations would also be involved with this platform somehow or the other. And that is what we are going to discuss in our board now, that how, because this is the extension of our goals from, that is what I'm trying to emphasize for the last 1 year, and personal experience for 20 years in the platform and 30 years in rating agency, that our association would be very active, should be very active in this platform somehow plugging in, because that is benefit, a very big benefit to our platform in ACRAA. And then we don't have an association in South America, so I think we should reach the South Americans also. In Africa we don't have a platform, so I think once we do this, and this will not take many years, because once bulk of the rating agencies come and on the go you see the analysis, it is intuitive. Like as a CEO of a company or as a founder of a company, as a shareholder, I need this platform to propagate myself. And I think ACRAA there in Bangladesh, 7, India, they will all like to be propagated and to sell their information. So I think our view should be that ACRAA and ACRAA at the board level will also be supporting us,
Okay, thank you.
Maybe if I can add on here. So the platform is really conceived as a global platform and goes beyond what is existing currently. So if you look at the ESMA website, the European rating platform, it relates exclusively to European rating agencies. So you will not find any information from an Asian agency or from Latin America or Africa there. There is another one from in the UK. The UK left the European Union, so they established a platform in the UK only for UK registered agencies. You have a platform, similar platforms in Argentina and in some countries in Latin America. So basically, all these agencies have already to share the information with the supervisors, but basically don't get any return for what they have to submit to this to the supervisors. And the idea here really is to join forces and to provide this global gate. And if we start now with some European agencies and some Asian agencies, I'm very confident that other agencies will also be coming on board over time. So it's not from one day to the other that we will have all of them, but it's going to be a development path because actually we need always to include them correctly within our system. So obviously the local ratings can be displayed quickly, but then we have to do all this mapping exercise in the background.
And for example, the Malaysia is a very huge debt market, and the sukuk market. Indonesia is upcoming sukuk market. We don't have a centralized place where we can find sukuks at the same time. So I think the Malaysians, Indonesians can add value to a very big extent into this platform. So we will be reaching them in any case through ACRAA and our efforts, because that is in alignment with our ACRAA objectives. For example, in Pakistan, ACRAA only joins the platform and VIS is absent. Nobody is clicking VIS. The VIS will not be noticed by the investors. So it will create a peer pressure. If somebody from a country where have multiple rating agencies and they join the platform, the investors will have a more quality view on them, that they will be propagating more. So it is just a marketing effort also at the same time, propagating in the more visibility of individual rating agency coming through this.
And I'm just thinking, actually, it just came to me that a lot of customers, I don't know how it may be in other countries, but a lot of exporters in Pakistan actually use their ratings for their, business abroad. And if, say, for example, there is such a rating platform, then they can obviously just tell their customers internationally as well that please go and visit this website. I have a rating which is outstanding here. And so, I mean, that could be one of the, absolutely, Mr. Rafi, that could serve as
visibility not for rating agencies, visibility for rating agencies, customers.
For the customers, for customers. And authentic, because, it'll be an authentic website. So that could also be a good idea.
Fahim, will you go back to your slide way forward?
Yeah, just a minute, Sandy. I hope I have this. Yeah.
Okay, one more question from Arif actually. Faryan.
Okay, the question is from Mr. Mir Arif Billah, who says, who will upload the data in the platform? Mr. Thomas, you want to take that?
Faisal, maybe?
Actually, I can do that. I can take that. So we've done some research on this in this area of how to get the data onto the platform. There are several ways to do it. So the most basic way is, of course, that the rating agency goes themselves. They have an account, they log in, and they fill in a form in which they can upload a singular rating data, or they upload multiple ratings to a CSV or a file. That's one way to do it. But of course, we wanted to be more have lesser load on the rating agency themselves, and we wanted to automate that process as well. So if they are willing, that will depend on case to case. We will be willing to incorporate a pipeline in which, if they have an existing ERP or some kind of rating system in which they do update their data, we would be able to have that pipeline attached to the rating platform. So when they update their own platform, rating platform will also be updated at the same time. This will have a kind of like a very live kind of effect also, and have a lesser involvement by the rating agency, so they don't have to invest their resources to input the data. So we are open to any and all kinds of ways to get the data on the platform, to make it as easy as possible.
I'll give way to the others who have raised questions. I'll give way first. I think Noor has another question.
And there is one other question in case of data sharing for research purposes, how to deal with data confidentiality and about NDAs with clients. Well, I guess this is going to be data that is already available on your website, so it's public data. Can artificial intelligence be used to collect the data from local rating agencies' websites?
No, we will not.
Yes, we have also discussed this as well, and this is definitely one of those plans. If the rating agency is willing and will allow us to do so, we are more than able to collect the data without even them having any involvement at all. So we can directly collect them through the AI system.
There are some more questions.
Any preparation that the local agency need to join the platform?
Currently, there's no preparation needed. All
no
we need
preparation.
is that you will have some kind of a structured data platform in which you already store your data. So, and we can always have those discussions later on when we come for the membership, when we have those discussions with you. So we will be accommodating to, and we will let you know what any preparations that are needed. But at the moment, there are none from our side.
Santi, you
Thank
wanted
you.
me to display this?
Yes. This way, strategy, the way forward is to create a demand among investors for such services. I'm just going to go to the very basics. We want to put to have a joint rating platform for a target user who are our customers and who can find it useful and hopefully can generate for us some revenue streams. Okay, so to create a demand. How do you create a demand before you see the product? So I would probably want to see the product first, and that's the entry point, really. No, so perhaps you have touched on this slightly, but can you just focus on how do you create a demand, and wouldn't it require you produce a product first and show me and how? Let me try it first.
Yeah, why not? I think
How do you go about that?
Yeah. It's not. You see, initially we don't think that. Remember, we have been discussing like I shared with our participants that ACRAA also had a page where we were disseminating the ratings, real-time ratings on our page, but it never had an analytics attached to it, so the data could not be synthesized. Now when Faisal showed you can filter, you can change the columns, you can do whatever you like, and it gives you the statistical analysis. So I think whoever visits the page, so we have to really make some announcement or maybe on our website, individual websites. That is what I thought we should say, that the data more meaningful and peer comparison available on rating platform and our ACRAA and ICRA websites. So this is how we can. But you see, Thomas said that even ISMA is trying to at the European level, they are trying to get going, putting up some kind of a portal like this. So ours is a global portal. So it is not forced. It is for the to give out our own extension and to reach the global investors for our own research and visibility. Because the issue is that our platform is individually web paged. That is what I thought in the initial discussion with Thomas and Rafi and this technology team, that it should be not one page for all the ratings. As Thomas said, that you can go to individual page and see what is happening there. So it's a mirror image, a more standardized image of our own web pages. So it's a very different concept we are creating here.
Platform.
I'm still using. Let me continue with my question using this slide. What you are saying also, Fahim, that we should have a meaningful analysis on ratings, and that will be the value added. But isn't the credit rating report already providing that meaningful analysis? Is there anything more you would like to add to the credit report? Or is it really just to disseminate the credit report itself?
We are not disseminating credit reports, by the way, Santi. We are disseminating the final product ratings. But there is a link which goes back to their own website. And if somebody wants to buy, if there is no technology, for example, available in Bangladesh or in Pakistan for payment through credit card, this platform will have that service available to fetch and buy Indian reports, Pakistani reports if they would like.
So, okay, that's when we say it's the credit report, it's access to the credit report itself. Because before, we just showed the ratings, and that was
Yeah,
all.
we are going to show the rating, and there will be a simultaneous the link available, corresponding link, where you will go back to the website where you can see the report, whatever in the form, like in a press release or a downloadable full report or not. So that really depends.
My final question on this slide. This on-the-go analysis. This is very interesting to me, Fahim, because this will be a real-time updating of the monitoring, which makes all our monitoring relevant. So that means really you have to use technology. I just know about. I think I understand your general concept. I don't know about the details, but what particular technology would you have in mind for this?
On-the-go analysis means that you have filters, you have graphs like Faisal was showing you, that you can filter. For example, you would like to see India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Korea automobile sector. If they have provided the ratings on the automobile, I can know from which country, which jurisdiction the DCRA has given what ratings in the local context. So it is on the go. So you don't have to dig in. So it is just filters, and the information would be synthesized and the end result would be given to you. This is on the go, on your mobile also.
Yes, because right now, this is my understanding slightly differently perhaps, is that if I have a rating for a company, on the go means a shorter period of making monitoring reports rather than usual 6 months or 1 year. So that makes it more relevant, because that has been always the complaint of some users, that the monitoring reports come so late because we have to do a lot of things to do a review. But if we, with the use of technology, if you can do really an instant updating, that would be great. That would be really great additional value.
We can look into it, then we have to use some artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
But there is a very important question, two questions coming from Tanzirul Islam. I think the financials, as we discussed, we are not interested into financials because we are interested into the ratings, the final outcome. And then the rating mapping, it's very interesting. If you look at my studies in 2012, there were 3 different methods we used. But now what I believe is the transition studies should also come into play in the rating mapping if you want to do so. This is a research, and mappings could be done against different what you call benchmarks. So it is not our research, is going to be a collective research, whoever joins the platform, and that is the beauty of what I've been talking about. It is the same goals of ACRAA we are trying to bring in here. This is the extension of ACRAA's website, what I believe in, because this is what we have been doing for last 21 years. So I think, this mapping factors, you can read my research paper, which is available on ACRAA's website. You will understand the insight how we did that research.
Any other questions?
There is one more coming up. So it's asking, in the absence of reliable financial statement from chartered accountants.
This is based on some kind of a SME or whatever. But you see, as long as the regulators have approved the license and they're licensed in their own country, we are not commenting on their ratings.
Okay, we should rely on them.
Understand? Yeah. We are not there as a regulator or quasi-regulator. We are just disseminating the news, creating the news created in the local context. Like Reuters.
And of course, the rating agency that is issuing the rating will remain responsible for that rating.
And they have a
rating
separate
platform.
page also. That is why we are putting up separate page. We are not commingling anything. So as far as long as they are licensed in their own country, they are very welcome to join the platform. And they are even if they are not the member of ACRAA or ACRAA, they can still come in.
Question.
Okay,
Is
Faryad.
the-
Hi, good morning, afternoon, Mr.
Masuda, okay, go
Masuda.
ahead.
How are you?
Okay, yeah. Can I make a comment and also questions?
Yes, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in charge of the non-resident rating from Japan's market. And when some new issue approach the Japanese market, first we are investigating by the Bloomberg. And Bloomberg automatically disseminates and for big three rating agencies. And we have this sort of element is missing for other rating agencies. So in that sense, the information system is disadvantageous for ACRAA. So in that sense, and the proposal of those platform is filling the information gap. And I welcome this sort of initiative. And it's a very important to making kind of a correction to the information gap. So I think very important proposal. But having said that, and I have also Chabit or maybe a concern, if any. We are NRSRO and also that under ESMA certified status, and we are subscribed to European rating platform. When we subscribe to the European rating platform from those and the supervisory aspect, and we need to making a substantial investment for information provisions because data formats and also that timely provision to the authority of those rating information require substantial change of our system. So that thank you very much for Thomas and also explanation of that one. I have some concern regarding to for European rating agency. I think all the rating agency is ready to provide to the ESMA basis, and ESMA format is a common platform. If you expand this one to the outside of the Europe, and generally speaking, we are not ready to provide in a single format to the data provisions. And if we try to conform those data provisions, we may need some substantial investment to comply. How do you mitigate in this sort of sense? And for data provision to the Bloomberg itself is also require a lot of investment for us. So those data provisions and they require its standardizations and also kind of data formats and frequencies, communications to data quality. The supervisions require investment. That's my observation. Thank you.
I'll take that question, Mr. Masuda. Thank you so much for highlighting. This is actually a very important point, and our software team has actually this is one of our most one of the highest priority because we want to accommodate as many rating agencies on our platform without them having to go through a big cumbersome process or to invest into creating some kind of a certain data format. So what rating platform, what we provide as a service would exactly be that. We would be taking your existing, whichever data format you have, and be using our own system to give you a customized transformation of your data, so that we will do the transformation, you will not be doing it, and our system will do the transformation and then upload to rating platform. So you will just provide us with the existing format that you have. You will not need to change anything for yourself. That is our main goal, actually.
Okay, at this stage, are we saying that the rating platform concept and model presented by Thomas Misong, is that what we are following now and pursuing? or is there anything else? Is that kind of, at least between you, Fahim, and Misong, ACRAA and ACRAA as front runners or frontliners for this project, is the concept and development path presented by Thomas Misong, is that what is on the table right now for us to pursue and refine?
Yes.
Yes.
I think, yes, that is what we are doing. Yes. And I think Masuda Sen had a very, very important question on this the standardization of data. And Faisal has very aptly said that you don't require any more investment. We will just look at your own ERP system and try to integrate platform system to transform that data, unlike Bloomberg and Reuters.
Unlike ESMA.
That's
important.
Masuda Sen, there are many intelligent people who, the bureaucrats sit there, they don't that is what in my opening presentation I said, that the software engineers should understand ratings. That is our winning point. If the team understands the rating business, they will understand what is the output has to be. If you just bring in a software engineer who does not have a knowledge of rating business, they don't understand the symbols, they will never be able to accomplish. That is why ISMA will force you to comply with their regulations and make investment. So I think you are very right on this.
Yeah, well, for potential needs is big, as I mentioned, and for US and the big threes, Bloomberg is a provider standard information. So potential investor is immediately access to those information flow. And we are missing of those sort of automatic flows, very strong databases. So if we can share this sort of information, that will strengthen of network of local credit rating agencies. That's point I
had this question, I had this mind in also, that if we have this platform, we can also be supplying data to Bloomberg and Reuters then. They will be interested because we have such a collection of DCRA's data. They will be forced because they are, what are Reuters and Bloomberg? They don't create news. They just post the news. We are the creator. So
together we are stronger. Yes.
Yes,
brother. Together we are stronger.
We create news. They are just carriers. Our rating platform to disseminate a pipeline to, they will be very much interested to get, because by the way, Reuters actually in Islamic international rating, they have tried to communicate with us on many occasions in Bahrain to gather the data, but we were shy because our, the sukooks and whatever. That is what I'm saying. Our members from Malaysia and in Indonesia could really be benefit from this platform for their visibility, because they are very meaningful debt markets. They are in the Islamic debt markets. For that asset class.
Well, so far, VIS is doing data provision to this platform. Is there any case, trial case?
It is just an experiment. It was just an experiment. We just showed you that what is the capability of the data. So it is not officially still launched. I think Thomas because Thomas is driving this, he can be able to tell you when they intend to launch with Faisal team, finally when we will be approaching JCR, yourselves, Turkey, here, there in Europe, in South America, because Brother Rafi would be doing the marketing maybe, and you can be asking your affiliates and, so this is how we are going to do it.
Okay, one question to the Fahim is, do you have any difficulty regarding to data transferability? And another question is there no problem that we can provide the same data sets which we provide to the ESMA? Because this ESMA data sets is provided for authority purpose. and is any kind of violations, and if we divert of this sort of provision for authority supervisory activities, that's maybe my question to the Rafi.
Actually, Thomas is the best person to answer the question because
Hi, Thomas. Thank you.
He has more information, knowledge than myself.
Thank you for this question, Mr. Masuda. Well, as you are providing the information to the ESMA rating platform, you know how annoying it might be from time to time.
Yes.
And you also know how useless it is in terms of being displayed on the website. Because it is not at all user-friendly and it is not working correctly. So if you look up, let's say, sovereign ratings, you will see all of them at once through all the scales and so on. So you don't have this first short snapshot information where you can really compare the ratings. So we, as Faisal said already, we want to look at what can you provide to us in which format, which is the one you want to provide to us. It does not necessarily need to be the ESMA standard you are using. It can be potentially the Bloomberg standard, or maybe you have another standard. And based on the standard which you are using, we will be adapting to it.
User-friendly, yes.
As soon as you have decided for one interface, let's call it like this, with us, it would be important to stick to that one. So in Europe, I would be expecting that a lot of agencies would be providing the information in the ESMA standard. But for instance, we have one agency already on board, which is Nordic Credit Rating, and they would be providing in the Bloomberg format to us already. So it's really up to you how you want to provide the data.
Okay, thank you very much for your explanation.
Can we hear any final words from Thomas Misong and Fahim Aman, and then I will turn it over to Masuda-san for the final word. Thomas,
yes,
any final
really,
word for us?
Yes, really many thanks for this opportunity to present our project. It is highly appreciated that you are so many following this presentation. It is a work in progress. We would look up having you coming on board as soon as possible. We would be discussing with each agency specifically how we would be proceeding on this platform, and the goal is really to get it growing so that we have a really global gate by next year.
Final word. You're muted.
What I'm saying, this is with passion for 20 years with JCR and yourself and the old our colleagues. Some of them have disappeared, but before we retire, finally, I believe that the DCRA's voice in Asia, in Europe, in South America, as a pioneer in rating agencies in Pakistan since '92, I feel this is a very big dilemma that we cannot produce, we cannot attract the investors. Whatever we do very diligently our work. All the DCRAs, I believe. So I think this will be the final, what you call gift from our platform, the ACRAA platform, to the global DCRS. So this is what I believe, that this will be a very good platform for us.
I call it breakthrough. It's a breakthrough initiative.
But Santi, we have been doing this for the last 18 years. So maybe the time has come now.
And probably the timings are also very correct. We're celebrating our 20th year this year, and it should mark with a bang. So it's a great idea
to lead us on this. He has got lot of things on his head now for ACRAA.
Okay. Now
Okay.
to our chairman, Mr. Masuda.
Okay. Thank you very much, and particularly Mr. Thomas Misons and also Mr. Fahim and sharing for your very important undertaking. This information and the infrastructure is quite critical for credit rating agencies. And mapping or maybe comparative methodologies to elaborate research work. Those are maybe tall order and also that task based upon those information infrastructure. We think we have to build kind of pragmatic starting that we need to start, and then we have to think about the business. Those two dimensions and how to start pragmatically and how to develop those two elements is so I think it's a quite important and seminars which contain real proposal that I think we appreciate Mr. Mison's cooperation this time and Rafi's and the intermediation to realize this opportunity and also to sharing of those everybody's efforts and including Farial, Fahim, Santi. Thank you very much indeed. And so let's continue to talk.
Okay.
Thank you, Masuda-san. And let me add my own. Thank you to Thomas and all dear friend and to Fahim and a really old friend. And thank you, Farial, for assisting, and thank you for all the participants.